and welcome to the latest entry in my video blog, the episode that I'd like to call the episode that was supposed to be up last week. I haven't skipped a week, I'm just really late. I'll explain the reasons in a moment, but first an account of what happened this last week, or rather what happened the week before last, the week before this was supposed to be up. Anyway, you might recall from the previous entry, which was also up quite late, although not quite this late. At least it was recorded a little closer to on time. It was actually recorded in November. That this episode would include an account of whether or not I finished my NaNoWriMo novel. Well, in a word, no. I didn't. In fact, I made very good progress the first few days of the month, and the last few days of the month, I made nothing for the vast majority of the days of the month, of course, and thereby left a lot for the last day. If I'd done nothing else but work on it on November 30th, maybe I would have finished, but by that point, I more or less just gave up. I mean, that's kind of defeats the purpose of the NaNoWriMo to write a huge bulk of the story in one day anyway. And I know I could do it because I've done it in the past, so I really don't think it matters at all that I didn't finish this time. It doesn't let me anything. I've written novels before, I could do it again, it's just this month was busy and it wasn't a priority, so it's really not at all a big deal. But once again, if I actually wrote as much every day as I did like the last few days of the month, excluding the very last day, I could write a full epic in a month, which I'm going to set as my goal to do next year. I'm going to write a multi-volume epic. At that time I'm going to do it. Hopefully by then I won't have quite as many distractions or things like that. But again, to iterate, no, I didn't finish my NaNoWriMo novel, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. So, other than that, the Space Theater Company, the theater company which I'm a member, has decided, at least tentatively, its schedule for the following year. I bring this up really because one of the things on the schedule, slated for next November or so, is a musical that I wrote, or rather that I'm writing. It's not finished yet. I have a lot of in-progress musicals, none of which I'm actually finished, partially because I didn't really have a reason. I didn't know what to do with them if I did finish. They really weren't a priority. Now for this one, I have a reason to finish it, since it's been performed and I have a deadline. That deadline's almost a year off, so I think I'll make it. The musical is entitled One Little World. Let me show you a brief excerpt.
An extraterrestrial species wants our world to die. They've worked it out to the last decimal. They're blowing us out of the sky. I'm in love with an extraterrestrial whose race wants to atomize ours. But still, though our prospects may seem rather dim, and chances of things working out may seem slim, I still keep up hope and I still think of him each time that I look at the stars.
Alright, now, as for the reason, I don't know why I turned around that way. There's nothing to look at behind me. It would have made a little more sense if I turned around this way and looked at the monitor, but I didn't. Anyway, as far as why this was so late this week, well, Saturday, I unexpectedly got called up to film a scene in a movie. And that ended up taking most of my evening. Now, I'll talk about that next week because it really doesn't belong properly to the week that this entry was supposed to be about. And when I say next week, I mean the entry that was supposed to be up today. But anyway, that meant I couldn't finish on Saturday. And since it was already late, I didn't really hurry to finish it, and so on. I didn't finish it Sunday, I probably could have, or Monday night, I probably could have finished it then. I don't think there was anything in particular going on then. Tuesday I couldn't. That was my theater company meeting, so it would have been difficult anyway, although maybe late at night I could have. But I figured I'd get up early Wednesday morning and do it. It'd be really late, but the last one was really late anyway, so I wasn't going to be quite as late. But then, when I went to turn on my computer Wednesday morning, it didn't turn on. The smell of ozone and a non-working computer, and that was sad.
blah.
So I took out the power supply and took it with me to work that day, figuring I could stop by Best Buy on the way back and get a new one. And then I stupidly left it at work that night, sitting forlornly on my desk. But the next day I did go to Best Buy after work and got a new power supply. Didn't have time to install it because that night there was this holiday program at the school. And yes, I realized I just had said that I wasn't going to talk about things that were the week after this was supposed to be out, but this doesn't count, so it's not really about what happened with my career so much as it's just why this is late. But anyway, to make a long story no longer than it already is, I really should have had this up a lot sooner, but the computer thing was partially an excuse. Even if my power supply hadn't died, I might still not have gotten this up. I mean, I still could have recorded this a lot sooner, and I didn't end up actually taping this until Friday night. That's bad. Yeah. Anyway, you might notice, by the way, that I am, once again, in a different location than usual, filming this time. This is actually the Space Sciences lab at USC, where I'm doing my doctoral research, at least in principle. Honestly, I haven't had much time to work on it lately, but I did stop by this evening. Yeah, what the heck? Let me give you a shirt. Please excuse the horrible, shaky, handheld camera work. Anyway, this is the computer room in the Space Sciences Center, which is the room that I, spent most of my time in when I was doing research here. This computer is the one that I usually used. The other computers are ones that I did not. But, yeah, the vast majority of my time in this building was spent sitting in front of that computer. There was one other room that I had spent some time in now, which we will be going to next. To the left, as we leave the computer room, you can see the main office of the Space Sciences Center, which is notable as being a room I do not have the key to, so we won't be going there. We will be going around here, in this corner, to this room that, unless they've changed the lock, I still have a key to, despite my not having been in there in a very long time. In fact, I don't even know what equipment's there now. Let's find out. Let's find out together. I'm rambling as I try to unlock the door. I have 4 different keys that are almost identical. One of them should unlock this door. There we go. And that concludes this week's episode. Next week's episode should technically be up today, but it won't be because I figure having 2 episodes of the same day is kind of, a bit much. So I expect the next episode maybe Monday or Tuesday. I know I seem to have a very bad track record for getting these up on Saturday like I keep saying I will, but I will eventually. In the meantime, I figure at this point I think there are only 3 or maybe 4 people watching this anyway. I do have plans for maybe linking these elsewhere, maybe getting more viewers, but until then, I guess it doesn't really matter if I'm a few days late, so yeah, I know I haven't been getting up on time, but for the moment it's not really a big deal, and I do plan to improve on that, but anyway, more news next week. By next week I mean, should have been today and will in fact be Monday or Tuesday. In the meantime, have a good night. Or day, whenever you're watching this. Morning? Yeah, bye.